culture, the sports, the humor, the comics, as a way of setting up a more natural dialogue with my students. If you don't understand these everyday things that are absolutely basic part of our lives, why spend your time studying somebody else's world?
Marshal recognized that the strategies of the world of business, of advertising, were really the same as the strategies of the poets. There's a world of difference between the Divine Comedy and a Coca-Cola ad. But the difference lies not necessarily in the method. Marshal took absolutely everything seriously.
I got a book out called The Mechanical Bride in 1951.
The Mechanical Bride, which was his first book, work that is of extraordinary significance. What we speak of now as popular culture was very much a part of The Mechanical Bride.
One of the probably family favorite books would have to be The Mechanical Bride. I remember we were clipping commercials and papers for him all those years. It was hilarious.
When he sent it to the publisher, his editor kept saying, tone it down, until the final product we thought was really so dull. But they were afraid of Marshal's ideas.
And just about 2 months later, the Electronic Bride arrived. So the book was a little too late.
It sinks without a trace. He's unhappy with the way it's been handled by the publisher. Mcluhan is very much aware that he's in a bind. Mcluhan is not a writer, primarily. And as he gets older, he loses patience more and more with this kind of slogging away at crafting conventional academic articles and books. His genius is as ancient cynic philosophers who go around making fun of the conventional ideas, talking to the crowds. This is Mcluhan.
Anything I talk about is almost certainly to be something I'm resolutely against. And it seems to me the best way of opposing it is to understand it, and then you know where to turn off the button.
Marshal was very much an outsider in the eyes of the large part of the department. There was a kind of prejudice against him, and looking with some suspicion upon students, for example, who became known as, Mclunatics.
When you could be, spending your energies on things like Donne and Shakespeare and the Sunday comics, well, it's like the little stuff that gathers between your toes. It's not subject for serious scrutiny.
The big advertising people and so on are tremendously interested in anybody who understands the effects of media. They don't want to know about the content. They can provide that. They want to know what the effect is. And I study the effects. I'm the only person in the world today who studies the effects of media.
If the audience can become involved in the actual process of making the ad, then it's happy.
These people in advertising are amongst the most intellectually curious, rebellious, experimenting. For a lot of them, Mcluhan is, he comes out of the blue as somebody who suddenly, for them, is a guru, is a guide, somebody who can help them understand what they're trying to do, what kind of market they're trying to reach.
Do you know that most people read ads about things they already own? They don't read things to buy them, but feel reassured that they have already bought the right thing. They get huge satisfaction from ads, far more than they do from the product itself.
And these people in advertising and business knew it, and knew it more profoundly and certainly much faster than anyone in any academic institution.
There was a director of a company recently who announced, our images become so potent that some of our stockholders are writing into us what we produce.
It was a perfect marriage. Here you have Marshall McLuhan saying some things that a lot of scholars were poo-pooing, and Marshall was looking for gratification. He was looking for acceptance. He was looking for an audience. He had an ego.
But in the same way, most advertisers do not understand TV media.
With the 60s, the ferment, the expectation that things were really happening, something was in the air.
Music was boiling, rock and roll was brand new.
The most important thing in the 60s was television. It was the fastest growing medium in history.
I was just thinking today that they should have all TV commercials with just soap operas in between.
The Kennedy-Nixon debates of, 1960.
And now for the first opening statement by Senator John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy's assassination.
Well, a lot of new things were happening. We had no tools for dealing with this, for thinking about it, for looking at it. It felt more like there was a sort of steamroller rolling over us.
Mcluhan was the first theorist to talk seriously about television.
Mr. Nixon, would you like to comment on that statement?
I have no comment. Nixon, he was a hot character because he had only a private image. He had no corporate image. He merely looked like Richard Nixon. To be a good TV image, you have to look like a lot of other people. That's called charisma.
Well, I'm not a crook. Let me just say this.
Here, finally, was someone, a theorist who was taking television seriously. It wasn't just something to do, just a casual one-night stand. It was changing our lives.
Cool is involving, hot is not.
It suddenly becomes evident that the whole political system in North America is being utterly revamped by television. The man and the period came together.
Very much, television gave the old electric circuitry that is already here, gave it a huge extra push in this direction of involvement and inwardness.
He asked, not what's on television, but what happens when you watch television, regardless of what's on television.
Television is a serious medium. It's an inner-oriented medium. You are the vanishing point. It goes inside you. You go on an inner trip. It is the prelude, the vestibule to LSD.
Global village is as big as a planet and as small as a village post office. As big as a planet.
The global village is a world in which you don't necessarily have harmony. You have concern with everybody else's business and much involved in everybody else's life. Sort of a mad column writ large.
TV change at once the way in which we see or hear or touch or feel ourselves and our world. The tribal man is the man created by the new electronic medium. We're in the process of making a trial.
来週はね、磁石の勉強をいたします。ではまた来週まで。さようなら。
Educators feel that they're behind the curve. People are being driven crazy by the sense that they're missing something.
Today we want to begin a study of a quadratic equation in two variables.
Education is war declared on the young. You're going to imprint violently on the young a certain pattern. That is war. I would suggest that if you were to put TV in the classroom, it would blow the classroom to bits. From the teaching processes would be completely transformed. It would be exactly like bringing the Trojan horse inside the walls of Troy. It would simply alter the entire pattern and procedures of the classroom and create an altogether new educational form.
His theories have a kind of comprehensive explaining